Hello and welcome everybody. This is Josh with Denton County Homebrewers Guild.
I'm Keith, also with the Denton County Homebrewers Guild.
We are sitting down here with you today for another members spotlight. I'm going to be telling you all about Keith. He is our treasurer. He doesn't like to be highlighted for all the and take credit for all the work he does, but he deserves at least a little bit of credit. So thank you.
You're breaking my my YouTube cherry here.
Right? Yeah. You're otherwise
You should be honored.
Yeah, you've been a great YouTube gray man up to this point.
They were great. Those were great times. You know?
Yeah. You've seen him on YouTube, but under a different name. You have no idea. All right. So we have plenty to go over. You have a lot of brewing history for us to review. Please tell us a little bit about your history and how you got into brewing and what you brew and all those things.
So I started brewing thanks to my wonderful wife about 13 years ago. I would say 2011, and she kind of recognized a thing in me that I appreciate the art of putting a love and an interest into something. So even before that, it started off with barbecue, and anyone in Texas understands that when you do a 14-hour smoke on a brisket, what you put into it ahead of time and what you get out of it, you get great pleasure in.
Absolutely.
So that kind of sparked an interest in the brewing side. And my interest in craft brewing started kind of, I would say, as a rebellion against some of my friends. We were, the big three light brewing types, or light beer types. And I was the one outsider drinking Shiner. And when Shiner came out with Shiner Black, I started drinking that quite a bit, and I was extreme outsider.
Yep.
And then that broke into all the other arenas of craft beer as we know it. Knew it then, and then as we know it today. So being able to put time and effort and love and creativity into something it's just a good time.
Awesome. And so you started in 2011, and I guess you continued brewing with the club, and you've had various milestones. Somewhere along the way, you won a Stein.
I did.
What year was that?
That was that would have been the 2021 Stein for American Amber and Brown.
Yep. And so it's your red patch, and you have a very strong passion for American Amber, American Red Ale.
Yeah, it's a great style. I love the slight roast to it, the deep malt flavor with a little bit of caramel notes to it. And then being American, obviously, there is a lot of hop character to it. And I love the pine, the Chinook, and some of the citrus that either Cascade or Citra adds to that. Any of the big 4 C's.
Yep.
But I'm a big Chinook and Cascade kind of guy for that style.
Very, very good. Yeah, I also love those styles. We're usually able to get Velvet Hammer 24 or 12 months out of the year here. That often, I guess that's more of an IPA, but I guess what commercial styles do you think?
And that broaches on the American Strong is, with that strong malt backbone with the alcohol warming that goes along with it. That's such a great. I think that's a really good example of the American Strong style for the area.
So is there for as far as just like the American Red, the American Amber, is there a commercial style that you feel like really exemplifies it in your mind that at least that we're able to get around here?
Oh yeah, Fat Tire.
Fat Tire.
Yeah, that's in the style guidelines if I remember right. But it's so good. It's just a nice grainy, almost a toast taste to it, just a touch of chocolate and roast, and then the hop backbone to it, just all the way around. Good long drinkable beer. that hits every part of the tongue, and it leaves you filled a little bit. I really appreciate that.
And we can cut this out if it's proprietary, but you've brewed before with like the San Diego Super strain.
Yep.
So kind of a variation of USO5, but with an even higher ABV
Yeah.
range.
Yeah.
Do you still use that strain?
I still do.
Yeah.
And I've varied through different manufacturers and even through different strains in Y yeast. But I always do come back to the San Diego Super. It's clean. It's very tolerable as far as temperature goes. High alcohol tolerance. I haven't found myself going wrong with that. Whereas when I've tried different recipes where I've used San Diego Super before and I've done other yeast, it doesn't quite have it.
Yeah.
You know, there's something different, and the only thing I can attribute to that is basically the yeast.
Gotcha.
So I always come back to the I think it's 090, but
Gotcha.
don't quote me on that. Look it up yourself.
San Diego Super strain, yeah.
Yeah.
You can just Google it. So, and so you also brew as a team.
Yes.
You brew with your wife. You brew with Brian. Tell us about your team brewing.
Yeah, so obviously my wife Natalie likes to brew with me, contribute to the team a little bit, and she's done a couple beers herself through the years. And so it's absolutely not fair to exclude her from anything that we do. So we brew under the name Can Green, and then as a co-brewer to Bryan Street, and we brew together under Bryan Street Brewing for Blue Bonnet or for other things like that. But
thought it was
we
Green
come
Street.
together.
We can go with that.
What'd I say?
I heard Bryan Street brewing. Bryan Street,
Green Street.
Green Street.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
that's
Yeah.
Yeah, Green Street Brewing.
We've been drinking.
Sorry. Yeah, so it really is a collaboration, and it really comes together as a couple brothers and their wives with a passion for the hobby.
Yeah.
And we have similar backgrounds and things like that in life, and so it really fits well.
Yeah. And I've attended your brew days, and very, very. I've been impressed with your attention to detail. Lots of check boxes and verifying measurements, very precise measurement. All things that take beers from being high 30s to up into the 40s.
Yeah.
So those are things that I absolutely. That's value that I get whenever I attend one of your brew days.
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of attribute that to brewing a lot of beers on one system,
Yeah.
so that you kind of get a feel for what you have. Like I know how much my temperature is going to drop from strike to mash,
Right.
and then what I have to do to like stirring every 15 minutes, stirring the mash every 15 minutes to kind of get the extraction that I want, to knowing that for whatever reason, I don't care what the science says and the brewlosophy guys say, all due respect to them, I can't do a 60-minute mash and get the gravity that I want. I have to do 90.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is, a light gravity Czech pills or an 1100 Imperial Stout. It doesn't matter. It's 90 minutes on my mash time.
Yeah. Every time I read those short and shoddy articles, I'm just amazed.
Yeah. I'm going to do one of those one time because I have to try it out. But if I'm brewing something for competition or something that I truly care about, I have to do the process.
Yeah.
And
you wait 10 minutes and you check the gravity reading, and it's like, okay, I gained a couple points of gravity, and it's like, okay, yeah, like I'm greedy. I want those extra couple points of gravity.
Hey, I spent money on that sugar. I want it out, you know.
Yeah, so
But it matters as far as consistency over time.
absolutely.
You know, if you want to brew the same, if what you brewed is amazing,
Yep.
why wouldn't you want to do it over time? Commercial brewers are the same way. They do the same process. It doesn't matter what, you know, it doesn't matter what science says, or it doesn't matter what, you know, some rando says. They have their process for their system. They're going to do it that way every
Yep.
time. And
Yeah,
I do that.
Dialing beer up from, you know, from being good to great really involves, you know, not having those extra 2 or 3 points of gravity that would otherwise be unconverted starch going into the boil. And,
Right.
and that really is the difference between good beer and great beer.
yeah, I agree. I
So-
would say, and you know, through the years, brewing, some of the things that helped me go. This is, I don't want to say good to great or anything like that, but things that I've noticed was starting from distilled water and then building the water profile for what I want to brew.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you can use your home water, and that's great, but it won't brew the same great German Pilsner as it will the same great English stout. Like, if you started from, I think if you started from RO or started from distilled and built your water profile up for those regions, or at least designed for your recipe,
Right.
like a stout water or a porter water is not the same as an IPA water.
Sure. Yeah, and nothing really catapulted the quality of my beer forward as much as me really learning water chemistry. And I like why I started building up from distilled. Is yours RO or distilled?
Distilled. I get distilled water from Kroger every
Yeah.
time.
Do you buy like a gallon at a time?
A gallon or 2.5 if I can.
Okay.
But
yeah. So
yeah.
we shop at the same Kroger, and you know I sometimes use the filter machine, like the filtered. Anyway, that may not be as close to complete zero as distilled, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
It's close enough that I'm willing to consider that, you know, build from there, and you know, add my salts and minerals as if it were distilled.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So we highly recommend getting into water chemistry if that's something that you guys have not tried, and if you want to get more into water chemistry, it is a topic that is incredibly complex, and you can continue to learn more and more about it.
What would you say? Which would you say is more important? This is just open for debate. Water chemistry or fermentation and temperature control?
That's such a great question.
And it might be dependent on what you're trying to brew too.
Absolutely, yeah. So, you know, if your water has major problems with it, right? Like, you know, suppose it really depends on, like, if you're in a local municipal water system and the water that you're working with is like treated heavily with, like, let's take an extreme example where it's like you have water that's treated with like chlorine, right?
Super chlorine.
Yeah. So if you have that kind of issue,
You gotta get rid of that.
yeah. So it's like you can brew half decent. You can absolutely brew without a lot of problems on most municipal water systems. So it's like if you rule out the possibility of having highly problematic water, then my answer to your question goes to the yeast and fermentation health. I think that probably for the majority of brewers out there, they have access to acceptable water.
Yeah.
And maybe they don't, and in which case they need to go out and
Either throw in a Camden tablet or get your spring water from your local grocery
right,
store.
yeah,
One of the two.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They need to just go down that route, and then all of a sudden there's a whole world of quality and improvement in your beer and your process from yeast management and fermentation health. So I think my answer to your question is yeast health is the answer. It's incredibly important. It's incredibly beneficial. Ensuring your pitch rate is correct, your temperature control is correct. All of those processes in the yeast and the yeast lifestyle. There's incredible gains to be had in the quality of your beer if you're ensuring proper pitch rates and a healthy fermentation.
I agree. I think that's probably primary. As long as you can get rid of the chlorine,
Right.
Because those will create terrible off flavors.
Right.
But aside from that, you can probably brew anything you want.
Yeah.
Based on your local water.
I
But
tried.
if you can't control the temperature, if you're trying to brew an 1100, original gravity imperial stout in your garage in the middle of summer in Texas, even with my favorite San Diego Super, it's going to taste like turpentine. I think.
Right. Yep. That,
Little rubbing alcohol action going on.
Yeah,
there.
those
That'd
warm
be terrible.
fermentations. It's delicious. Okay.
But
I tried to keep my answer to that as short as I could, and if I would let myself, I'd go on forever. What else do we need to talk about to spotlight?
let's talk about the club.
Yeah.
Been a member of the club for probably going on 12 years now.
Yep.
Back when our club was originally meeting at the God rest its soul Audacity Brewing Company here in Denton, and I met some of our legendary club members, T. Michael and Toast and John McDonald,
Yes.
back in the day, and man, those were great days. But if hopefully, if you're watching this, you remember the club. If you're not a member of a club somewhere, please go hang out. There's more knowledge in that room, more spontaneous knowledge than you'll find in any forum and in any AHA, chat group or anything like that. It's just, and then take your beer and then ask for feedback, and you'll get a lot. I guarantee you'll get a lot of positive feedback. If there's something wrong with your beer, you'll get that too. Nothing is ever personal, because what is wonderful about the brewing community, and I would say versus the barbecuing community, is a barbecue community will take your sawdust of a brisket and say, this is the best thing they've ever had, keep doing what you're doing. Versus the brewing community, they'll say, this is what's wrong, I made this style, here's my recipe,
Right.
now go do it. There's a lot, there's so much camaraderie, there's so much love, there's so much just sharing of knowledge
Yep.
that I think makes the brewing community different than anything else you'll ever find. Woodworking, even, or I mean, I don't even know what. It's not like those two are comparable, but
It's an earnest desire to
It is.
improve the community. It's like,
everyone wants to be better, and everyone wants to make everyone else better, because we want to drink what you make.
Right.
Because I didn't go through the effort of making it,
Right.
so I want to drink good stuff.
Yeah. We will rest when we all sit around this table and drink perfect beers together.
Yeah. Give me 1250s on the table, and
Yes.
that'll be a good day.
Yeah, and we'll call it a party. So, do you remember what the first beer you brought to a meeting was?
Oh. No, I don't. I remember my very first beers I made were Mr. Beer Kits.
Nice.
One or two were some of the pale ale, something like that. They were pretty terrible.
Fair enough.
Not because of infection or anything, but it was a yeast thing. Like
Yeah.
looking back and knowing what went wrong, it
I
was
mean-
a yeast thing. They weren't infected. They weren't soured or anything like that. They just weren't good.
Those kits sat on the shelf with a packet of yeast in them
Yeah.
for who knows how long.
Yep.
And,
But the very first good beer I made was a Mr. Beer Kit, but it was a stout, and it really was pretty nice. I mean, no off flavors. It was clean. It was chocolatey and roasty, and had a mediocre mouthfeel. I mean, it was an extract beer, but I mean, not too bad. So I brought a couple of those, and then, as everyone does, you get a 5-gallon kit from Homebrew headquarters. Back when they were still here, miss them much, and then you kind of grow up and start doing all grain, and I've been doing all grain ever since.
And so we talked about you've done a lot of red ales, pale ales. You've done Czech pills. Your Czech pills is wonderful. Are there any other styles that you have brewed or that you have strong opinions on?
So between my red ale and the Czech pills, I do a pecan porter every year.
Yes, that one's very good.
Yeah, I love doing that one.
Yeah.
Thank you 512 for that inspiration. And then I'll throw in a couple other just kind of different ones, through the year or over the years. I did a Meritzen for the first time this year. Mm-hmm. It was okay.
Yeah.
Drinkable. Didn't quite fit the style. I had a hard time with carbonation on that one.
Yeah.
But I'll do that one again. I've done an Irish Stout a couple times through the years. That one's pretty good. I like that one. I don't think it scores quite as high as it should, but that's okay. I like drinking it.
It's a hard one to please certain judges on.
On the other hand, like three quarters of the job is brewing what you want.
Right. Yeah, you got to drink most of it, and then there's
I'll send a few out.
There's 2 or 3
for
bottles that go to the judges.
Sure. So I've done that, and then I've dabbled in many other styles through the years. Belgian quads and did a blonde for the first time this year. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Did a blonde for the first time this year, and that turned out pretty nice, I think.
Cool.
I'd like a little more, just a touch more honey in that one. I think would really make that one stand out.
And like trying to get that honey to shine through at the end rather than just ferment out.
Just a touch,
Right.
Nice and clean, but just a little extra dimension to it.
I gotcha.
But it still is a nice, clean, good, easy drinking beer. I did one thing I want to do. I haven't done in probably 6 or 7 years, if not longer. I did a smoked cherry wheat.
Ah, that's fun.
So I
So
did.
cherry smoked malt.
Yep, cherry smoked malt with some wheat, and then 2 different types of cherry juice through the fermentation process.
Oh, interesting.
A sweet cherry, and then I did a tart cherry on the very end, or maybe the other way around. I don't. Again, 8 years or something.
I gotcha. That's interesting.
I want to do that one again because that was actually pretty good.
And you didn't enter that in comps, or
No, that was before I kind of got into any
yeah.
competitions or scene.
There's points to be earned in the specialty categories there.
Yeah.
That's great.
That was good, man. That was a good beer. I got to redo that one.
Very good. Okay. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
We're kind of filming this around Christmas time. So
Yes.
Merry Christmas to all you brewers out there, and you and your families, and blessings to all of you. If you're in the competition scene, brew to style, and I can't wait to taste it because I'm going to really try to judge Bluebonnet this year.
Yes.
I've signed up for a weekend, and we're going to hopefully get a couple flights up here at Denton County.
Yes. We look forward to seeing you all.
Absolutely.
The Denton bar crawl. There's always a good time, and then we look forward to seeing you all at the Bluebonnet itself awards. That's always a huge party. Tons of great camaraderie and good beer and good food. All of those things.
Yeah. If you're not a competition brewer, brew what you like. Brew for your friends and brew for your family, and enjoy what you make. And if you're not a member of the club, doesn't matter, come on up. We'd love to have you at our meetings. We love meeting new people, love drinking new drinks. And cheers. All right, gentlemen, we are rolling right now, but feel free to
do whatever.
So am I spotlighting you?
Yes, now we're talking
Apparently.
to you. We've talked you and me before now.
This is a video that's being uploaded on a different day.
Yes. I don't get a chance for us all to get together often enough, so this gives me more content that I can.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll drop like you and me here in like a week or so, and
Right.
then in another week or two after that, I'll drop this one.
Right.
So I'll do like 2 member spotlight videos,
Okay.
and then that'll give us time to get to the leadership committee meeting, and maybe we can talk some more stuff there, and I'll upload shorts, and you can upload some shorts whenever you're doing things.
Yes, I need to work. I need to do more of those.
saying.
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, like, that's my thing, is like, let's just do small things and space them out. If we get one thing a week, whether a short or a long form, it just keeps building the algorithm.
Yeah.
That's
What are you drinking? Nightwish?
I think it's a barrel aged Nightwish.
Okay. I'll try to shift my. I'm gonna lie about what I'm drinking.
Yeah, no, you can just, nobody cares. As long as you don't say it's a fine German Pilsner, I think it'll be, nobody knows that.
All right.
But just the standard, who are you, who is he, how you got into brewing, your brew journey up to this point.
Okay.
You can talk about our collab, team brewing stuff that I'm doing, your position in Denton County, stuff like that.
Yep.
Just kind of your platform of like, hey, this is Keith. He's our treasurer for years. We couldn't do what we're doing without him. Make sure, because he's going to be uncomfortable with that.
Right.
So make sure you give him his props, because that's enough. We don't do enough of is those people that stay behind the scenes and don't like to be told how valuable they are to us, and we all love them. And we couldn't do what we're doing.
Leaving. I'm
Yeah,
out.
I want him uncomfortable. All right, we're live. I'll cut all that out.
Okay.
You just do your thing.
Is 9mm overrated?
Yeah, it's a paintball round, but go ahead. 357 SIG's where it's at.
The man said it. All right.
Go big or go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.